welcome everybody. My name is Betty Crocker, and I have the pleasure of greeting you today and guiding us through this wonderful journey. We affectionately call this the Quad County Collaborative. I wanted to first thank No Kid Hungry for once again sponsoring this wonderful tech platform and giving us so much bandwidth to be with you today on the organization and everything. And we have Tommy the rock star behind the scenes, keeping all of us on track. We are calling today Feeding a Need, Increasing Meal Access in These Changing Times. And our collaborative, we have shifted our focus into transitioning everything back into whatever the world has for us. You know, the USDA is quite fluid. I see a lot of nutrition directors here today that are going to be sharing with us what's going on in their corner. And they're coming to us live, just like I am, from my office here in Redlands and from their offices. We even have one speaker today who's already in the future. I don't want to rain on her parade, but she's already living through tomorrow. So we're looking forward to hearing from her. And then of course our sprinkles at the end, Mr. Matt Upton, Slices of Success. So a really big gratitude. If I haven't thanked anybody that has helped this come through, please know that you're living in all of our hearts. Today is quite a stretch for many of us to be here today. I wanted to encourage all of my fellow directors and speakers. This is what I want you to do. Have fun, breathe. We just want to hear from you. And so without further ado, what we're going to do, Tommy, can you go to the next slide for me? Thank you so much. I'm going to go over a little bit of housekeeping. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to register right now on the chat box. So just go to the chat box and tell us who you are and where you're coming from. And if you're with a school district, of course, share that with us. And then also make sure that your mic is muted. And then Tommy is controlling all of it. Go ahead, next slide, please, Tom. How about if I turn off my own? And oh, yes, that's me. I'm Betty Crocker, coming to you live from Redlands Unified School District. And I wanted to give it over to our CNAP partner. Thank you. Thank you, Tommy. I wanted to go ahead and give it over to our CNAP partner to introduce everybody who is from CNAP and kind of share what CNAP is all about. And I can see everybody registering. Keep registering on the chat. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Betty. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Fatina Darwish, and I am from the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health. I am the coordinator of our County Nutrition Action Partnership, or CNAP. So just a little background on what CNAP is. Nearly all local health departments in California has a CNAP collaborative as part of their CalFresh Healthy Living program, which is federally known as SNAP-Ed. Although the structure of each CNAP may be different, the efforts are similar in that we represent a variety of community-based organizations, schools, healthcare, government agencies, and other public health organizations. So similar to the webinar we held this past July, this webinar was brought together by No Kid Hungry and also our 4 CNAPs led by public health departments. Our goal is really just to continue the conversation and facilitate best practices among school nutrition services throughout the Southern California region. So in LA County, we actually changed our name from CNAP to Nutrition Access LA to better reflect the goals of our collaborative, which is to increase food security in LA County among vulnerable populations through the promotion of food assistance programs. Some activities we've done as a group include hosting 2 Facebook live chats, developing a social media calendar and toolkit that really talks about promoting food programs. So with that, I would like to introduce each county CNAP representative to introduce themselves and share a little bit about their collaborative. So Gina from Orange County, if you can please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Gina Osborne, and I'm from the Orange County Healthcare Agency CalFresh Healthy Living program, and I'm the coordinator of our local county nutrition action plan here in Orange County.
Great. Thank you, Gina.
And next we have Andrea from Riverside.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Andrea Mori. I work for Riverside County Public Health, and our CNAP partnership is working a lot on connecting emergency food partners together conducting a lot of food rescue as well as working on reducing food waste. So you have my contact information there. You're welcome to give me a call or send me an email and let me know what you're interested in supporting Riverside County. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea. And Robin from San Bernardino.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Robin Ronkus. I am the coordinator of the County Nutrition Action Partnership in San Bernardino County. As one of our priorities, it has been school meal access. We were formerly the Summer Meal Collaborative, but we're now the School Meal Access Collaborative. And that's why we have superstars like Betty Crocker from Redlands Unified School District, No Kid Hungry, and newest to our collaborative is Julie Calderon and Rochelle Chavez from Adelanto Elementary School District. And I just wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow there is a pandemic EBT stakeholder meeting. So connect with your CNAP coordinator. I will send them the information if you're interested in attending that important webinar on pandemic EBT, the updated. So thank you.
Thank you, Robin. And yes, please feel free to contact your respected coordinator within each county for more information. Back to you, Betty.
Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful to have all the CNAPs with us today, and we appreciate your leadership. I know Robin Ronkus has turned into our right hand in terms of getting everything done and connecting all of us to all the community partners. So without further ado, we are going to Santa Ana Unified School District. We have Josh, and Josh, I have heard nothing but awesome things that are going on in Santa Ana. And I understand that we're going to be Twinkies very soon. I ordered the same trucks that you guys are using over there in Santa Ana. So share with us, Josh, what is great and good over in Santa Ana. And everybody in the audience, please head on over to the chat box and push any questions for Josh on the chat box. We will address all of them. Josh, it's all you.
Cool. Thank you, Betty. Appreciate that very much. The best thing about Santa Ana is the people, our staff, our kids. It's an incredible community. I want to talk a little bit about, I think, what's made us successful these past several months. It's been a pretty wild ride. But I do think that flexibility has been the key to our success. And I want to sort of start by defining what that means. I guess before that, I'll give a little bit of background about Santa Ana Unified. So, we serve primarily the city of Santa Ana, which is a city of just over 330,000 people. And we're located in the heart of Orange County, about 27 square miles of worth of land that we cover. The district has an enrollment of 47,000 kids currently, 92% free reduced for our for the kids who are enrolled. We are currently under CEP. We have been for 4 years, and we just re-upped last month. So we're happy to be able to continue providing free meals for all kids, regardless of eligibility. It's made administratively better operations for us, but more importantly, it gives more access to the kids who need it. We operate under NSLP, SBP, and CACFP, though over the years we've consolidated most of our operations to NSLP. And we serve on, during regular time, or pre-COVID, we were doing about 50,000 meals a day, and we're currently doing about 28,000 meals a day. So a significant reduction in the meals that are served, and that certainly doesn't mean that kids are getting their needs met elsewhere. I think it might be a problem of access, and I do believe that increasing access is where flexibility comes in. So I'll be able to shed a little bit of light on what we have been doing and what we're planning on doing in the near future. I do want to recognize that flexibility, first and foremost, I believe, is about having compassion for your staff, for your team, for your fellow team members. In food services, we have just about 400 people across 58 different locations. And when this all started, the first thing we did was recognize the elephant in the room, which was the inherent risk everybody was taking by being on the front lines. And I've been in awe of everybody who is a child nutrition professional ever since I started 7 years ago. But to say I'm impressed by what they were able to accomplish in these past few months is an understatement. wrapping our arms around the issue and recognizing that there was a risk. I don't think, using the phrase, well, it's for kids, we have to get out there. I don't think that works. I think that's a cop out. We had to recognize that there was a real risk of being on the front lines and not knowing, entirely what the situation was like in scope. I mean, the first week we were out there, we weren't even wearing masks. We were just, we made it a priority to be there. So I believe that communication is the only bridge that compassion can cross. So sharing with our staff what we knew as soon as we knew it, and not harboring information. I think it was important to democratize the information that we had from CDC, what we had from our county health department, and then act on it. And so we began to obsess about the safety of our staff. So immediately providing PPE as soon as we could, engaging in physical distancing training, and just prioritizing our staff safety above all. And I mean above all, because I think if we pretended that everything was okay and we were to say, don't worry, we're going to be fine, that I think diminished the intelligence of our staff. So by being forward and honest about what we were up against, I think was important. And once we did that and everybody, engaged and were able to provide an immediate impact to our community, we then began to recognize in various ways, whether it be yard signs or having hot chocolate parties when it was cold, having lemonade parties when it got hot, home delivery trophies, all these things, just to recognize how incredible everybody performed during this period, I think is important. And I think that is the foundation of how you can be flexible. So, our Board of Education, our superintendent, from the very beginning, they made service and access of meals the #1 priority of the district when our doors closed on March 16th. And beyond that, it was just a matter of taking action. We contacted our CSEA leadership immediately to share with them what our priorities were and what our plans were. And I think getting in front of any very well understood anxiety about what our members were experiencing. And then from there, we opened up 13 locations, all were drive-through. We started providing breakfast and lunch. We didn't do supper until the summertime. And that's somewhat of an impact of what, we were not getting quick information from the agencies that needed to provide it. And though I don't fault them, I think we need to recognize that the impact on the child is what needs to be pressed upon everybody here. So we did transition to a 3-day service model at the end of March. Our highest day of participation was 80,000 meals. We didn't have enough space. I think that was a big issue. Most of our schools are elementary schools and they have very, very little refrigeration. Dry storage is also very scarce. So though we wanted to provide multiple days worth of meals, it's logistically, I think just we're constrained by space. So we continue to serve multiple days worth of meals, but only 3 days a week. During the summertime, and I should say that by the end of April, we had served over 1 million meals. During the summertime, we did transition over to 8 sites, all were drive-through, and we've had a walk-up option from the beginning and through the summertime. And then by about August, we'd served 2 million meals. I think that response to feedback is critical. We were able to get our hands on some shelf-stable meal kits at the, close to the beginning of this all happening. But those, I think, wore on kids very, very quickly. They were, I think, pleased with what they saw at first, but to see that on the menu once a week, twice a week, it was starting to, I think, pile up at home. They preferred to have fresh fruits, vegetables, things that they could reheat on their own. So we listened to the feedback and we quickly adjusted our menus to match that. I think that's an important note to take away from this is regardless if you're operating under a crisis, I think you still have to respond to the basic tenets of business, and that's putting your customers first and responding to their requests. I think there's a lot to be said of not utilizing crisis as an excuse, but being able to push forward and use communication as your best friend. On August 17th, we reopened the academic calendar for this school year, all virtual. We did start, we are serving at all 58 of our locations in the district, breakfast, lunch, and supper. It's 5 days a week. We started serving from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day at all schools, but based on parent feedback, some surveys we had sent out, it was determined that some parents were just unable to get to the sites in time to get meals for their children. So we opened up 8 morning sites and 5 evening sites, hours from 7 to 9 in the morning and from 4 to 5 p.m. in the evening, just to give parents that opportunity. So the whole day is essentially covered here. I think a critical component of our success also has been responding to administrators, principals, assistant principals, and when they called us and asked if we could do something, 99 times out of 100, it was a yes. And if it was a no, we had to follow up with a yes. Something had to be a yes, because there was, I think, every time we said no, it was the potential for, a child not to be served a meal. Special diets, I should mention, from day one, we were able to continue accommodating special diets. We sent out all calls to all the households that had special diets on file with us, and we found out where would be the best location for them to pick up. Though we initially were serving right out of our central kitchen, parents were coming down, and our fantastic team who handles special diets were able to serve them right out of the central kitchen. Delivery to homes. We've been working with our support services team for the district, and they have been taking food directly to shelters, directly to families who have been on quarantine. It's not very large scale. I would say less than 100 per week, but it's still, again, an opportunity to serve kids. Recently, we've started utilizing buses. We have 2 apartment complexes where we currently set up meal service from about 11 to 1 in the afternoon. We're seeing a couple hundred kids show up at these sites a day, or I should say their parents are coming down for them. But with kids virtually learning, it's more challenging than I think we believe for them to stop what they're doing, leave home, go pick up the meals, and come back. So it's clearly evidenced, I believe, by the fact that our net participation has increased from when we introduced the buses. It wasn't that we, for lack of a better term, cannibalized our numbers. It went up across the board. So we're now looking for other opportunities to put these out there, especially now that USDA has finally got its head on straight and decided they were going to serve kids and not other interests. Excuse me for saying so. So now that they've extended the waivers to the end of the school year, we'll be able to provide more access to meals for children right now. Menu planning is absolutely critical. I know I'm just about out of time here. But menu planning, I think, is so very critical, listening to children, listening to kids, and again, knowing that, we had a glut of inventory on hand, but shifting as quickly as we could to identify, other opportunities in the market for us to bring in and provide kids value, provide them, that unique value proposition that still drives parents and kids to our service location. So in the future, for the short term, we're still looking at 100% virtual, while the numbers in Santa Ana, COVID rates are still fairly high, though they are dropping. We're working with local agencies to increase testing, but the bottom line is finding more points of access. Say yes as many times as you can, even if it seems like it's a bad idea, just say yes. It's really about, communicating with your staff, because flexibility has really changed. Flexibility has changed happening very, very quickly. And the people on the front lines, our staff who are actually handing the meals to the kids, they're the ones most affected by the changes we make as administrators. So please give all the props you can to your staff. And if you ever need anything, if you would like to hear more information about what Santa Ana is doing, please reach out to me. My contact info is on the slide there. Appreciate you including Santa Ana Unified. Thank you.
Hey, Josh, it's Betty again. Can you hang out for just one moment? I know you got to run to a meeting, is the note that I have. Tommy, can you do me a favor? Our Superman of today, can you please go back to the co-chair slide? Go back to the co-chair slide, Tommy, please. Hey, Josh, I'm with you, man. You got to say yes. You got to say yes and figure it out, and pray for the grace that you can get all of the support that you need to deliver the yes. I love your messaging, and your bus service sounds phenomenal. What were your numbers that you're doing on the buses now?
Around 200 per site, per apartment complex.
That is just grand and glorious. I hope we get some questions on that, of how to coordinate. And if we don't, Josh, maybe we connect offline as well. We were looking at something like that over here, working with the Housing Authority as well. So thank you so much. It is an honor to have Santa Ana in the house. So thank you for your time with that. And you might want to, Josh, you might want to hang out for just a moment too, if you can look at the chat. Usually folks will put some questions up there. So I'm going back to the co-chair slide. Can I go back to where it says Julie Adelanto? Tommy? Mr. Tommy. There we go. Thank you so much. Miss April, she from Hesperia, she was serving as our co-chair for a couple years, and we were so incredibly grateful. And she has decided to relocate out of state, and we will very much miss her. I was just in Hesperia yesterday, actually. And so we have another co-chair, Miss Julie Calderon, who will be serving as a co-chair, and she is from Adelanto Elementary School District. And I just wanted to give her a shout out and say thank you so much for everything, including all the co-chair stuff. And then Tommy, if we can go forward to Robin Ronkus slide, there we go. I'm gonna give it over to Robin Ronkus for just a moment. And you're muted, Robin.
Okay, Betty, I think the next item on the agenda, I think we're going to give Daisy a little time to talk as well.
Thank you.
Daisy, we have a couple superstars in our county, and I ride on their coattails. We have Daisy Munguia and then also Robin Hernandez with No Kid Hungry.
Miss Daisy?
Yes, Tommy, can you go back to the previous slide? Thank you so much. So, hi everyone. We're super excited and grateful that you are joining us today. Before we get started with some more content on the webinar, I have a couple quick No Kid Hungry updates. So first, if you are attending CSNA's annual conference, No Kid Hungry will be having a breakout session on October 30th on school nutrition and equity during COVID-19. So as we know, COVID-19 is a health and an economic crisis that is disproportionately impacting low-wage workers and people of color. During this session, participants will be exposed to data that supports the connection of COVID's economic impact to food insecurity as an equity issue. Additionally, participants will walk away with the understanding that child nutrition programs address equity, and adjusting these programs to fit your school environment can help students that experience hunger. Next, another important update we have is last Friday, CDE sent out an email announcing that the USDA had extended 12 nationwide COVID-19 waivers. These waivers extend existing flexibilities in connection with SFSP, SSO, and CACFP through June 30th, 2021. This is huge. Third, No Kid Hungry will be launching a community eligibility provision work group. This work group will be comprised of a set of districts and experts working together to either start or expand their CEP program. The group will be focused on strategy, revenue, grouping, analysis, board and presentation, buy-ins and discussion, and hands-on projects on CEP. Please email Robert Hernandez or myself if you're interested in joining. And lastly, amidst the pandemic, we know that 1 in 4 children could face hunger in the USA this year. So let's continue to support school districts and work together to make sure that kids are being fed both during the crisis and after the aftermath. I'll hand it over back to you, Betty. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Always full of information. It is, it's very heavy what you share with the greater impact of COVID on food security in our area and in our country. And just like Josh said, we're so grateful for everything that the USDA has authorized us to do during the time of need. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Miss Gina next. Gina Osborne, are you in the house? CNAP? There she is, and you're muted, Gina. Yay.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
We can. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience.
No problem. Okay, so I'm Gina Osborne, and again, I'm from the Orange County Healthcare Agency, and I was invited to talk today about our Orange County champions and the feedback that we received related to accessing grab-and-go meals. So next slide, please. So before we delve into what we heard from the parents, I just wanted to give you just a really quick background of the champions here in Orange County. So we've identified over 100 parents as champions because of their efforts to improve the health and well-being of their families, neighborhoods, and the local communities. And so we were hearing from our school partners that the grab-and-go meals were being underutilized, and numbers were down compared to the same time last year. And so we thought, well, let's talk to the champions, since they're the gatekeepers of their homes, to see what might be going on. And this slide is just shows photos of all of the different champions throughout Orange County. So next slide, please. So what did we hear from OC champions about grab-and-go meals? So a lot of what they said reflects some of what Josh had discussed in Santa Ana. But today we were asked to share our findings, and our summary. It's a representation of parents in Orange County, and we're by no means making recommendations, but we're just sharing what we learned from our parents, and wanted to keep in mind that it may be good to keep them in the conversation when it comes to providing meals. As Josh was saying, they are our customers. So, and I did want to just say that we also want to commend all of the schools and all of the school districts, because we know how much work is going into making sure our kids are being nourished. So we just want to recognize that and thank all of you. So now not what did we talk to, but who did we talk to? So 97 Orange County champions from 16 cities were called between September 28th and October 5th. And just over half that we called provided feedback about the grab-and-go meals. Next slide, please. And what did they say? So we asked them, is your family able to get the children's meals from the school site? So 68% said they were able to, and about a third said that they were not able to get the meals. And regardless of whether or not they were able to get the meals, 68% were concerned about safety. So, walking to the site, parking, things like that. So they were concerned about safety, whether or not they were able to access the meals. So for those that weren't able to access the meals, the number one reason was the need to stay home to support distance learning of multiple kids. And then a close second were both lack of adult supervision at home, so leaving the kids home alone to go pick up the meals. And then distance was also a factor, as well as time for pickup. And then some other reasons that were shared, some of the kids preferred home cooked meals. As I mentioned, parking was a challenge at some sites. And then weather, especially during the summer, it was one parent mentioned that it was too hot outside to walk 2 miles. And then also work hours. Parents are working, trying to take care of kids, teach them, making sure they're fed. So work hours were a conflict as well. So in summary, all parents said that they were busier with virtual learning than usual. And parents with children at home have very tight schedules and are oftentimes unable to pick up the meals readily. And so again, these aren't recommendations, but we're just sharing what we heard. But based on the responses, we thought of a few things we may want to consider or think about. So one of them is lack of transportation. Can we take a closer look at meal delivery options by neighborhoods? One mom shared her experience about what her day looks like. So she has to wait until the virtual classes are over for her kids. And then she has to take a bus to and from work as a part-time hairstylist. So traveling is about 3 or 4 hours every day. Tight meal schedules is another thing to think about. Is there enough time for travel, pickup without causing parent anxiety? And assisting kids to log back into the virtual platform. Because parents were expressing that the times offered and the locations of meal distribution sometimes conflict with online learning schedule. So there's not enough time to pick up the meals and then get back home and help the kids get back online to learn. And then, are the meals offered favorable to students, our customers? So one mom shared that she compared offerings from 2 different school districts in her area, and she was a little disappointed in her own district and wondered why another district could offer more palatable meals than her own district. And I know we're all doing the best we can given our circumstances. So, but that was just one comment. And then lastly, is there a role for teaching repurposing of food items to minimize waste and maximize use of the school meals? For instance, one mom mentioned that she'll use maybe the milk, juice, fruits, and vegetables to make a smoothie with the kids at home. So, so these were just some of the things that we heard from the parents, a representation of parents here in Orange County. And I know I only have 5 minutes, so I hope I didn't go too fast, but yes, that's what we found and heard from parents here in Orange County.
Gina, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, hearing from our parents is so important. I've been sharing with my team, you know, our customers used to be the kiddos, and now our customers are the parents that serve our kiddos that we used to serve and that we used to see. So their perception and just like Josh said, learning to say yes to everything that kind of comes our way. And as you framed it, addressing the parent anxiety, it's a really big deal. And I appreciate all the information that you shared from the OC. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
You got it. So next up to bat, I'm going to bring Tomorrow. Are we doing Robin Ronkus?
Yes, we are. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think I have COVID brain. Ronkus, please take it away. I apologize.
Okay. Well,
thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you, Betty. And thank you for the opportunity to share the results of the findings from the Child Nutrition Director Survey. I'll be presenting, as well as Robin Hernandez with No Kid Hungry. Next slide, please. The objective of the survey, it's not changing on mine. Hopefully it's changing on yours. Okay, yes. The objective of the survey was to gain a better understanding of current school nutrition needs, as well as identify where the intersection between school district and community partners exists to support, enhance, and increase meal and food access. So working with No Kid Hungry, especially Robin Hernandez, Daisy, Tommy, and input from Betty, and then some questions submitted from San Bernardino County's Dr. Eng, the survey was developed, which consisted of 11 multiple choice questions. One respondent said it took 5 minutes on a slow Chromebook, so it was pretty quick. So distribution of the survey was coordinated by the 4 County Nutrition Action Partnerships, and respondents represented mainly child nutrition directors from districts throughout San Bernardino, LA, Orange, and Riverside counties, but some of the districts also serve Kern and Ventura. And we had about 50 respondents in total. So I will hand it over to Robin Hernandez to present the first of the questions and findings. Next slide.
Okay, thank you, Robin. So just some of the questions that we asked, wanted to share with you the results. We wanted to find out who transitioned to what program. 86% of respondents say that they had transitioned from National School Lunch Program onto the Seamless Summer Option Program. 12% transitioned to the Summer Food Service Program. 2% stayed on National School Lunch Program. And the other 2% was other. Next slide, please. As far as participation changes, 80% of you noted an increase in your meals served once you transitioned back to summer. And that is great news. Only 10% noted a decrease and 6% noted no change, and 4% had not transitioned. Next slide, please. Meal service times, this was a check all category. So one district may be offering meal service times in several of these categories, but 80% of those surveyed said that they did offer a serving window during the school day or the distance learning day. 10% offered a service window before school hours, 20% offered a window of service after school hours, and 4% did not specify. Next slide, please. and CACFP summer meals, supper meals, I'm sorry. We wanted to know who was serving these supper meals. And 36% of you are currently serving them with your grab and go meal service as families are coming through getting their breakfasts and lunches for their kids. They are also picking up a supper. 36% are not serving supper. And then 8% are serving it, but only to kids enrolled in an on-campus program. Another 8% are interested in serving, but still need assistance with the ever-changing waivers. And another 12% are also interested in serving, but need some help with enrichment resources. So that's just a little shout out to our community partners there who may be able to assist. And 10% are unsure. And next slide, please.
Okay,
And then I'm going to pass it back off to our other Robin.
Okay, so the next question was related to how COVID has affected child nutrition departments, and more than half, or 62%, are facing financial challenges as a result of the pandemic. And 18% have faced challenges but are on track to recover financially. Hopefully we can hear from some of them. 10% are relying on district support, grants, etc., to recover financially, and then 10% decline to comment. Next slide, please. Now, when talking about mobile delivery, as Josh did just recently, close to half of the school districts surveyed were providing mobile delivery to program participants, about 46%. 56% did not, and 6% wanted more information on mobile delivery. And of course, this was a check all that apply type of question. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the question was, do you participate in any of the food box programs? So nearly half of the school districts participate in this program. Many participate in USDA Farmers to Families Food Box Program or other food box programs. And they disseminate food boxes of fresh fruits, vegetables, dairy products, meat products, or a combination of all of those. So it's evident that schools have become the hub in many communities. 28% did not participate in it, but would like to explore possibilities, and then 24% were not interested. Next slide, please. So in light of current and upcoming regulations regarding food waste, a question was asked regarding practices related to the donation of surplus food. We see that 58% currently donate surplus food, with an additional 14% wanting to donate, but they've encountered barriers. 10% do not, but would like to learn more, and 18% were not interested in donating food at this time. So anyway, the responses from this survey will indeed help to shape the partnerships as well as future resources to increase meal and food access. Next slide. Many of those requesting would like to learn more in certain areas, whether it be for mobile delivery or donating food. We hope to follow up on your interests. And then I want to thank all the 50 child nutrition directors for completing the survey. And those who completed the survey were automatically entered into a drawing to receive a basket of No Kid Hungry swag and $50 Starbucks gift card. So this, there will be one winner per county, and the results will be announced today after the question and answer period later in the agenda. So that's it, and I'll hand it over back to Betty.
Thank you, Roncas. Thank you, Hernandez. Both Robins are in the house. Without further ado, I'm going straight to tomorrow. Do we have Jen McNeil in the house? Miss Jen McNeil, where are you at?
Hello. I'm here. All right.
Welcome. The spotlight is on you, Chica. Have fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Betty. And thank you for everyone at the Quad County Collaborative and No Kid Hungry for putting this on. It's really nice to be here. I'm Jen McNeil, and I see lots of familiar names on the call today. I am a former child nutrition director from Southern California. I was previously at Hemet Unified and Encinitas Union School District, and I founded Lunch Assist in 2016. And Lunch Assist is an organization that provides inspiration, support, and guidance to school nutrition professionals across the US. And Lunch Assist Pro is the membership for school nutrition professionals. And we provide our members with, actually, Tommy, you can go through the slides as I'm speaking. I think there you go, thanks. So yeah, Lunch Assist is a community that you're all welcome to join. And we also have a membership, which is the new membership for school nutrition professionals. We provide our members with simple, fun, informative training videos, unique tools, customized policy templates, manuals, checklists, tip sheets from across the industry, and we house it all in one place. And we do this so that you can spend less time searching for guidance and recreating the wheel and more time focusing on what matters most, which is feeding our children. And our team recognizes that with so many rules and regulations and a global pandemic, operating child nutrition programs has never been more difficult. And that is especially true during a review year. So if you have an AR this year, you may want to reach out and learn more about our new boot camp, or come to our AR prep session during the CSNA conference later this month. And many of you have already joined our tribe of school lunch heroes through the community calls, which we hold in partnership with the Center for Eco-Literacy. We kicked off these calls in March to support the sharing of knowledge and provide inspiration, discuss important policy updates for the field. And this is a space where people can connect and receive much needed support while operating under unprecedented circumstances. And you're all invited to join these free monthly community calls if you haven't already. And we'll pop the registration link for our next call, which is going to be held on the first Thursday in November, into the chat box. Okay, and you can go ahead and, yeah, these are just some pictures from the groups that have been meeting on these community calls. So Tommy, you can just click through those. Yeah, thank you. Some beautiful food and such fun, innovative work being done in the field. So today I will be speaking a little bit about supporting program integrity during COVID-19. So let's stop for a moment and think about the words program integrity. What comes to mind for you? Perhaps it's honesty. Maybe it's doing the right thing. Program integrity can be defined as an organized and structurally sound system that promotes efficiency and prevents the inappropriate use of federal nutrition dollars. This is a topic that has been around since the start of the school nutrition program, but it was heavily emphasized during the 1990s and early 2000s after concerns arose that application errors were resulting in too many students receiving free meals. In 2004, Congress passed a series of rules that heightened the emphasis on program integrity in school nutrition. Program integrity rules needed to strike the delicate balance of ensuring program access, but also making sure that only those families who were eligible received free meals. For any program, as we all know, achieving this balance is challenging. If program integrity procedures are too simple, then federal funds are going to be spent on things that are not allowable. But if procedures are too cumbersome, then eligible families may not participate, which is not what we want. Finally, if program integrity rules and procedures are so complicated and overly rigorous, operating costs are going to increase from administering these procedures, and program integrity plans will cost more to implement than they save in the first place. So that cost-benefit ratio starts to decline. So as I hope you can tell, procedures that promote program integrity need to strike a delicate balance, and they're never going to be perfect or bulletproof. There's always going to be a way around the system. So I mentioned program integrity as it relates to meal applications, but there are many ways we interact with program integrity in our daily operations. Think about your pre-COVID world, that nice world we used to live in. What are some ways that you ensured program integrity throughout your program? Well, you probably did regular staff training, and you may have had some really well-written policies and procedures, especially for meal counting and claiming. Maybe you conducted your regular site visits and site monitoring to check that staff were well supported and following all of the guidelines. Earlier, we mentioned the administrative review. This is the way that our state agency ensures each school is operating with integrity and spending their federal dollars in an appropriate manner. So as you can see, program integrity is all around us and always has been. It's not isolated to one single thing. There's no one program integrity plan. Program integrity is a topic, it's a theme. It's infused in many areas of school nutrition, from verification to financial management to record keeping. All of these topics have a little dash of program integrity sprinkled on top. So now let's think about our operations during COVID-19. And we've been hearing a lot about program integrity, haven't we? That's why we wanted to focus just a little bit of time on this today. So what are some of the new ways in which we're operating that might lead to a misuse of federal funds? Or in other words, what are areas that where we're at risk for weak spots in our program integrity? We need to think about ways to support program integrity given the new circumstances that we're operating in today. Two of the big topics that come to mind when we hear program integrity in the past couple of months have been parent-guardian meal pickup and preventing duplicate meals during curbside non-congregate meal service. So when you've been hearing about program integrity lately, these are the two topics that folks are usually referring to. We all need to have a policy and procedure in place that ensures meals are served to children or to parents who are taking them home to their children, and that duplicate meals are not served. So given this new world that we're operating in, some ways to promote program integrity include the bullet points that you see on the screen. Training our staff and maybe even providing them with some scripting or language that they can use to verbally confirm with parents that the meals are for children. We can post signage at the meal site location, informing families of our rules and stating things like only one meal pickup per day, or meals are for children, not adults. We can also design a system that makes it easier for people to stay compliant. So scheduling a shorter meal service window or serving at the same time as all of the nearby sites. So it's just a little bit more difficult for people to go to multiple sites in one day. You can certainly get a bit fancier with all of this, like using a POS or meal tickets or barcodes. Remember, it's up to you how you handle program integrity, and there's no one right way to do it. It's all about striking this balance of some policies and procedures that help ensure meals are, ensure that all of our rules are followed without going overboard and being overly burdensome on the system. So, and just keep in mind that no program integrity plan is ever going to be perfect. So ultimately, the main thing you need to have is a detailed policy and procedure for parent meal pickup and preventing duplicate meals that details the steps you will take to ensure program integrity. The image on the screen is a copy of the sample policy and procedure from Lunch Assist, and this incorporates all the elements in one document. You can use this and adapt this for your district, and it's just a jumping off point or inspiration for your own process. Everyone will have a unique plan for their own school or district, but this template can be useful. And we'll post a link to where this can be downloaded in the chat box so you all have access to it. And those of you who are members to Lunch Assist Pro, you'll also have access to more customizable forms, policies, and training videos on this topic if you log into your membership. And those of you who are not members, we definitely invite you to join our little tribe and support the movement. And that is all I'm going to focus on today, but I do have a few extra slides at the end just about the supper program. So I don't want to take too much time, but you can refer to those after when you get the call resources. And anyone who's approved for the supper program, we definitely encourage you to offer your supper or snacks to the CACFP at risk. I know that was one of the findings from the survey that Robin were just talking about. It's just such a great way to maximize reimbursement and reach our needy children in the community. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you so much for the time, and I'll pass it back to Betty.
Jen, thank you so much for joining us from Australia. We just love hearing from you. And I had you over here in 2016. That means that I was one of your first customers, right? Lunch Assist?
Yeah. I got initiated into consulting with Betty Crocker.
God bless you, girl. You save us from much. Thank you so much. Without further ado, we have Miss Rochelle Chavez. She is the field supervisor stepping in for Miss Julie Calderon. our co-chair. She's coming to us from Adelanto Elementary School District. Rochelle, can you do a mic check, see if you're there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, friend, look at it's all you. Spotlight on you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rochelle. I'm with Adelanto School District. I'm going to speak on Julie's behalf. She's on a much needed vacation. And anyway, I'd like to speak to you today about the single day service. At one time, we were doing curbside service every day of the week, 5 days a week. Now we've switched over to once a week. Currently, we're distributing meals on Mondays for the full week. We're serving 2,573 children, and that includes 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper, as well as 2 snacks. One is the regular snack program, and one is the FFBP program. So, and we serve 5 of those on any given day. Why do we serve once a week? Like most of you, transportation was an issue in our district. We have a lot of families that don't have vehicles. We have pockets of food deserts here in Adelanto. So we wanted to do it once a week so that the parents would have the opportunity to come and maybe even arrange for transportation to our sites. We have a need in our area. We're 100% CEP, and we're at about half of our normal participation. Currently, we're 100% distance learning. Our district doesn't want parents to choose between food and education, so we're actually serving after school hours. We feel that it's less contact with the public for staff safety and our staffing issues. We've been very short-staffed. A lot of our staff have small children at home, and so they're not able to come to work more than once or twice a week. So this helps with that as well. Next slide. Each child receives the following for the week. We give them 5 reimbursable breakfasts, 5 reimbursable lunch, 5 reimbursable suppers, 5 reimbursable snacks, and 3 to 5 fresh fruit or vegetables for the FFEP grant. We offer a maximum of 1 gallon of milk per child, so this covers all the meals. If they don't want to take a full gallon, we do offer half gallons, and sometimes the parents will decline milk altogether, and they're allowed to do that as well. Next slide, please. As you can see here, we try to do a variety in each bag. So each of these bags represent 1 meal. We have breakfast, we have lunch, we have supper, and then we also have a bag of snacks. Next slide, please. We are using our commodity items. For an example, well, as you can see on the left, this is how we have our milk. We keep it as cold as possible in the Cambros, and we wheel it right out to the curbside. And then we had to get a little creative with our commodities. So for example, 1 number 10 can covers all the breakfast and supper services for up to 2 to 3 students for the week. Then we add some fresh produce to cover for lunch or snack. It can change weekly. There are times that because we don't have enough fresh fruit or maybe a fresh vegetable, 1 can would cover only up to 2 children. Therefore, if the families come and say they have 3 or 4 children, then we would have to give them another can. So it just depends on that. We have a chart for our staff weekly that we provide to them so that they don't have to try to calculate portion size while they're serving. Next slide, please. Okay, and this is just an example. We use all of our bulk items. We've been trying to use our bulk items as much as possible. So just for an example, some were easy. We can easily bag, 5 chicken nuggets or make a breakfast sandwich. We got a little bit more creative and started making chicken bowls. I think next week they're going to work on orange chicken bowls where we'll be providing rice and the chicken and that sort of thing. So we've been trying to make use of like beef crumble and all those bulk items. Next slide, please. So some helpful tips and explanations to the parents. We have recipes on our website. The recipes include nutrition facts and heating instructions. Our weekly menus, we send out weekly menus and updated information. We also have recipe ideas. For example, with the fresh strawberries, we might add a recipe to make a strawberry smoothie. With the beef crumble, we've sent out ideas to make sloppy joes or a beef soft taco. We've used our USDA corn and added a recipe for Mexicorn. Also, we had some corn on the cob at one time, and so we sent out little notifications about how to put it on the grill and add some flavor to it. Weekly, we send out a parent letter. We include it in the bag or the box. It explains what items are for which meal. We do updates on our program if maybe a time might have to change, or if we're gonna maybe open or close another site. We do helpful tips and recipes. For example, we might tell them why they need to drink more water or eat a rainbow of fresh fruits and vegetables. That's for the parent engagement part. We always include a kid-friendly joke, and it's always in English and in Spanish. Next slide, please. A little bit about our fresh fruit and vegetable grant. We are currently using both waivers so that we can serve at all of our open sites. Some of our sites have not been approved yet for the grant, so with the waiver, we're able to serve there. We're also able to do it with parent pickup. In order to make sure that we're having the integrity of the program, we simply ask them, what site does your child go to? And if the parents say that their children don't attend any of the schools in our district, then we just don't add it to the bag or the box. If they tell us they have one child at one site and one at another, we go ahead and add 2 clamshells. For example, you see a picture of the clamshell that will serve them for 3 to 5 days, and that'll cover that fresh fruit portion of it. So it is the last item that goes into the bag or box at curbside. And we do purchase from local farmers in the portion sizes that we need to cover the minimum of 3 to 5 servings a week. So it's ready to go. Next slide, please. A couple of challenges we've had. Parents were confused on what to do with the bulk items in the beginning. We had some calls and maybe even a little bit of a complaint. We've had parents didn't want to cook, and so we gave a little bit simpler recipes. We tried to put them together so that it's just basically pop it in the microwave type thing. Our time of service was different. Our board wanted us to, like I said, serve after school so that parents weren't having to choose whether to stay with the children and assist with their distance learning or to come to the site and pick up food. We did have some parents show up at 10 in the morning and we weren't serving till 2 in the afternoon. So that was a challenge. We weren't comfortable with cooking the meals and then trying to keep them hot to serve them. So now everything is served frozen with heating instructions. We did have some challenges with keeping the food cold, but we've purchased more Cambro cabinets. We use ice pillows, we use Easy Ups, and then we have runners that go back and forth from the freezer to the curbside service. That's everything for us.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rochelle. Like you, we don't serve during the distance learning either. We start when it's on the other end of dark. We actually start at 4 a.m. to set that up. And so I definitely understand the challenges and the opportunities presented by distance learning. Thank you so much. Really super creative use of your commodities too. Loved all the pictures. And without further ado, we're going straight to Palo Verde Unified School District. Jesse, are you in the house?
I am. Once again, I appreciate all of you guys having me here. It really means a lot.
Well, it is all you, my friend. So enjoy.
Right.
We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna have a chance to talk about our journey, our transition, what we've had a chance to implement and what has worked and has not worked in honesty to be able to serve our community. So starting off, I'm gonna provide a breakdown of Palo Verde Unified School District. We're located in Blythe, California. For those of you who do not know it, give or take, that's around an hour and a half eastward of Palm Springs. And we have a student enrollment just shy of 3,000 students. 4 of the 5 sites that we have fall under CEP, and a high percentage of our students are of free meal status. Next slide, please. So here in Blythe, between March 11th and the 16th, schools actually closed because of a state fair. It's something that we go through each and every year. This year, as you can imagine, that fair itself was canceled. But a big part about it is as soon as we found word about the closure, a big goal of ours was to be able to identify a plan and what's the best way to feed our community and our students. So at that point, we brainstormed and we identified that providing curbside pickup at each and every one of our sites would be an ideal way to go about it at the start. Next slide, please. So a big part that we noticed, though, however, is this: by doing the meal side pickup, majority of the students that were coming to each and every site were via a vehicle. We tallied the amount of kids that did walk up to each site, and it was a fraction. Over here in Blythe, there's a couple students that are a ways from the closest school, and we identified that the best way to be able to ensure every kid has means for a meal is by trying to incorporate some sort of busing, our vans, our buses, our drivers. So what we did is we sat as a team and identified, okay, what's the best schedule? What's the best way to go about it? And that's what we did. So we served for 2 days just curbside, okay? After we established that on the 3rd day, that's when we implemented the bus routes to our community. Next slide, please. So once we did that, we found out that 13 routes can cover our entire community as a whole. We did include stops at homes for SPED students. We made sure to stop at apartment complexes. We got in hold of the stakeholders, the community as a whole, and identify what stops we can add and try to find what's the best way to implement this. Granted, this is something that it took a lot of adjustment, whether it's what was being offered, sure that the temperatures are kept. If we got a call for any other stops, we made sure to incorporate and find what's the best way to incorporate in our routes. But by implementing this, as soon as we did, our numbers immediately doubled. The community itself really appreciated this. And this is something that we actually did from March all the way to now through the summer too. Over here this summer, it gets really, really hot. So majority of the meals that we were providing were via vans or buses. So that was a really huge help. Next slide, please. Something else that we really wanted to go over is still find ways to improve our program. What exactly we can do just to increase the amount of students that are coming out, the amount of kids. We're well aware that majority of our options predominantly entail individually wrapped items. It doesn't give us as many options, or the costs are really high. So we're trying to figure out ways to incorporate things that the kids were accustomed back during a traditional school year. And what we decided to do is provide hot meals when they come and pick up. We're serving Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So for those given days, they can get a hot lunch for a curbside pickup. We also went out and bought some tablets and barcode scanners and made meal ID cards for each and every student. So how we have it implemented here is if a student or if a child shows up at any of our sites, whether it's bus stop or at a curbside pickup, they will have an opportunity to get a meal. Or if a parent or a guardian presents a meal ID card, they will also be able to get a meal. So that really helped the flow of traffic. At the start, we had a really long line. So a big thing was to get people in and out as quick and as safely as possible. So by doing this and incorporating a hot meal and implementing this technology to get them in and out, it once again increased participation, and it was a great turnout. Next slide, please. So as all of us are well aware, information is constantly changing each and every day, whether it's a matter of we can provide meals to just our students, to the community as a whole. Is it free? Is it not free? I mean, this is thing that's constantly changing. So something in our case, and we identify as, regardless if we have a perfect program, if people don't know about it, it's not going to work. It's not as efficient as it could be. So a big thing that I made a point is to first contact all district employees. I emailed, spammed everyone, informed them, hey, this is the update. This is what we're doing. We're providing meals here. This is all that's required. And that was the big thing that we just wanted to emphasize, that our community is well aware. Something else that we reached out is to the newspaper. We reached out to the radio station, phone calls, social media, website. I mean, every platform that we can use to spread the word, and make sure everyone's well aware of what we're doing and of each and every change. Next slide, please. Something else too is, as many of us are well aware, since March, it's been nonstop. Our staff are absolutely amazing. They've been going at it, and it's literally adapting accordingly each and every day. We are well aware that at times it's exhausting. The times right now are very stressful, just for everything that's ongoing. So a big thing that's really helped out, and I feel like it can apply to any school, district, or company as a whole, is more so not only making a point to just acknowledge their hard work in person once you're there, but in my case, once I utilize every platform to market our program, I also incorporate there a plug, just acknowledging. Once again, I want to take a special moment to acknowledge the hard work of our staff, the bus drivers, just make sure that they're well aware of how grateful we are for everything that they're doing for us and for the community as a whole. Second thing is, any ideas, anything that we're kind of going for, transitioning towards, I make it a point to go and talk to my staff, get their thoughts, good, bad. And so we have a chance to identify what's the best way to go about it. As many of us are well aware, this is new times that require new approaches to go about. So any feedback that we get, regardless of whom it's from, it's greatly appreciated. The last thing too I want to mention is just take a moment of all the hard work and all the big differences that each and every one of you are making, which is incredible. So I'm well aware at times it's not the easiest, and there's a lot of things that continuously change, but please know that each and every one of you are making a big difference. So thank you. And then next slide, please. Here's my contact information. If you have any questions or want to contact me, here's my email and my phone number. Thank you.
Jesse, you did an awesome job. Thank you so much. You know, we really need to hear from how we do the rural services at times. It's very challenging to transition from, you know, having a concentrated service. In Redlands, our district is a size, and we're densely populated. I can literally get from one end to the next in 5 minutes, but that's just not the case with everybody. And we really appreciate you donating your time today. And you were amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And without further ado, we're going to Miss Tammy White out of San Jacinto. Tammy, tell us what is good out in San Jacinto, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Betty Crocker. So hi, I'm Tammy White, the Director of Nutrition Services at San Jacinto Unified School District, located in Southern California. Our district is comprised of 7 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, 2 high schools, and 1 Head Start preschool, with an enrollment of 10,125 students. Our free and reduced percentage is 84.20%. All of our schools are participating in the Community Eligibility Provision, better known as CEP. Pre-COVID, we were serving 5,000 breakfast and 7,000 lunch meals a day, which equals about 50% breakfast participation and 70% lunch participation. We had just implemented supper and snack, and we're averaging about 800 meals a day. On March 16th, due to school closures, we started our daily grab and go meal service at all sites. After a few weeks, we transitioned to a 3 times a week meal service at all sites. By mid-April, we transitioned again to a 1 day a week service at 3 strategically located sites throughout our district. During this pandemic, meal service included the summer months. We served a total of 771,000 breakfast, lunch, and supper meals and 146,000 snacks. We added snacks by simply putting a dozen flour tortillas and a package of 7-ounce shredded cheese in our meal bags for the week. We did as much bulk style meals as we could and had barbecue themed weeks to celebrate Memorial Day and 4th of July. Our menus included dozen hamburger and hot dog buns, loaves of bread, packages of corn and flour tortillas, bulk packages of hamburger patties, egg patties, sausage patties, and bags of apples, nectarines, oranges, and potatoes, as well as whole cantaloupe and watermelon. Anything we could get our hands onto that was bulk, we were all in. We realized during this time we were building the plane as we flew it. Around the end of April, we were finally at cruising altitude and ready for beverage service. We continued this style of meal service through the end of summer until school was to begin, so we thought. School was going to start for us on Monday, August 17th, and we knew per USDA regulations, we had to claim meals under National School Lunch Program due to school technically being in session, even though there could be different hybrid distance learning models. How were we going to account for our students' meals by their assigned site if we only wanted to have 4 sites open due to their geographical locations? We are a small district and some of our schools are located close to one another, so there was not a need to open all schools for meal service. So we developed our integrity plan. We identified 4 serving sites. 3 were the same ones we used during summer, and we assigned households to one of these 4 sites based on their location. We made sure to even out the number of households at each site over a 3-day period. Our goal was to have no more than 500 households at any site on each day. This is assuming all students participated in the weekly grab-and-go meal service. Once this was done, we printed out all student ID cards out of our point-of-sale system. We then separated each ID card in alphabetical order by their enrolled site. We then gathered the ID cards by household. We utilized our student information system, ARIES, for this detailed information. We then laminated these cards together and put a color-coded sticker on the bottom indicating their assigned meal service day of either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and their assigned site. We then mailed these cards home along with the letter explaining what we were doing and another reminder of their assigned day and site. Most importantly, children did not need to be present to receive their meals. I think it is important to make the weekly household grab-and-go meal pickup as easy as possible for whoever is picking up the students' meals. We need to take into considerations the struggle households are having. They are adjusting to distance learning, childcare, and transportation issues. Our meal serving time is from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., which allows working parents the opportunity to pick up meals before work and allows parents to be there when distance learning begins. We include 7 days of breakfast, 7 days of lunch, 7 days of supper, and 7 days of snack. To meet the after-school enrichment requirement of CACFP for supper and snack, we include our clever enrichment flyer in each meal bag. And at the beginning of each month, we also pass out a monthly English-Spanish menu to give our parents, students an idea of what is in their meal bag. This menu includes cooking instructions, any reminders, and 2 important statements: civil rights and menu subject to change. Once households arrived at the grab-and-go meal service, we walked up with a red plastic tray and they put ID cards in the tray. We then scan each of the cards in our point-of-sale system, which allows us the ability to ensure we are not duplicating meals since we offer our grab-and-go meal service over a 3-day period. We then put a flashcard number on the windshield and they proceed through the meal service lines. Parents are happy the lines are short. They're less than 5 minutes, unlike during summer where the lines were upwards of 1.5 to 2 hours long. We are averaging about 42.5% participation of our enrollment in our weekly grab-and-go meal service, which equates to about 120,000 breakfast, lunch, supper, and snacks weekly. By offering supper and snack with each meal bag, this has generated an extra $600,000 for our program for the month of September alone. This revenue is offsetting the loss of our normal participation. Then, of course, the rules changed again, and we were now allowed to serve through the seamless summer feeding option. We elected to use this option and applied as a closed enrolled site model because this is what works best for our enrolled students. We came to this conclusion based on an 80% increased participation from our summer months. would believe this was due to a student ID card being required to receive meals, meal service assigned and spread over a 3-day period, and the length of time parents were waiting in line. Please keep in mind, this model may or may not work for your district. For us, it does. As of September 14th, we now have distance learning pods on each of our campuses. It is important that I tell you this is not in-person instruction, but rather pods of students that have been identified by their site that need assistance with technology, etc. One of the most asked questions from parents was, if my child attends the distance learning pod, can they still receive their weekly grab and go meals? The answer is yes. We are offering a more traditional cold breakfast and lunch on campus, as well as sending supper and snack home with students when they leave for the day. At our distance learning pods, we have a roster system where we place a check mark next to the student's name, ID number for each meal that is served. At the end of the week, we input the student roster information into our point of sale system. If the system pops up reimbursable meal already served, which indicates the family already came through the weekly grab and go meal service line, we are unable to claim that second meal for reimbursement. However, we bill our district for any non-reimbursable meals. The first week's invoice was around $900. Our district will be using CARES Act funds to pay for these second meals. I would advise you to have discussions with your CBO. What can my department utilize with CARES Act funds? There are funds earmarked specifically for nutrition services. Use them. Don't be afraid to ask for things. The answer may be no, but at least you tried. As my good friend says, you don't GET if you don't ASK. It is so important that you involve your site admin, district, and your boss in your communications of what you or your families need and any challenges you are hearing about or experiencing. We need additional help. We needed additional help building our grab and go meals and asked for assistance from our facilities and operations department. We also utilize campus security and site custodians to assist with traffic and loading meals into trunks of cars. This collaboration between departments has been instrumental in our continued success. This is not a nutrition services issue where it's all on our shoulders. It is a district issue and we need their guidance and support. Also, we have district site staff deliver meals to families that are having trouble getting to our meal serving locations. Our motto is, we got the meals if you got the wheels. Another one of our focuses was our team member work hours. A great deal of our staff are 2, 3, and 3.5 hour employees. Rather than have them report Monday through Friday, we combine their weekly hours into 3 work days. For example, a 3-hour employee for the week would be 15 hours. We have them work 5 hours on Wednesday, 5 hours on Thursday, 5 hours on Friday. This also allowed us to have our staff work in cohorts, either at site distribution or the central kitchen for ease of contact tracing if necessary. Reach out to the state as much as you need. I have Vince Keene's phone number memorized because I call him at least 3 to 5 times a week. Finally, don't forget to take care of yourself. Collaborate with other directors in your area. Use them as a sounding board to run ideas by to assist with interpreting any new waivers or management bulletins that are received. Thankfully, I have 5 directors in my area that are my voice of reason and remind me that I am not in this alone. Keep students as the center of all your decisions and you will be doing the right thing. If you have any follow-up questions, please do not hesitate to call or email me. My contact information is listed on the slide. Thank you.
Miss Tammy White, you are just a creative genius of so many levels. You know, I have witnessed your serve firsthand and seen your families who just follow your lead so well. They follow their colors and everything. So hats off to you, Chica.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, and we have Miss Liz Powell. Liz Powell, are you in the house?
Yes, I am.
Coming to us from Pasadena.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, it is all you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm Liz Powell. I'm the Director of Food Services for Pasadena Unified. A little history about Pasadena. We are 3 different communities together in one district. We are Pasadena, Sierra Madre, and Altadena. Currently, we're preschool through 12th grade. We serve breakfast, lunch, supper, and snack. We have about 28 schools as of May 2020. With the declining enrollment here, the district decided to eliminate 3 or close 3 elementary and 1 middle school. So the 24 schools that are left are all now qualified as CEP schools. So that's really good for us. We're really excited. And our enrollment right now is about 15,700 students. I have to say, in the 30 years that I've been a food service director, I have never gone through anything like this pandemic. We shut down on March 13th, and we turned around on March 17th and started serving curbside meals at all 28 of our school sites. A week after we started doing that, we had an employee become ill and was hospitalized. And of course, everyone thought that she had COVID, which she didn't. Long story short, we worked very closely with the Department of Public Health here in Pasadena with Dr. Go. And the decision was made that she was going to close down all of our production kitchens. And so that meant that I had a day to pivot and find a vendor that would produce breakfast and lunch for us and deliver to our school sites. At the same time, many of my staff shared some concerns and chose to not come back to work, whether it was their age or their health problems or issues, or they were just plain scared. They just did not want to come back. So we went from about 137 employees to 38 employees like overnight. So we had to pivot again and close down a bunch of sites. And I picked 7 sites that would service all 3 communities and their families. And I worked real closely with the the coordinator for communications for the district to send out blasts to all the families to say, okay, we're now at 7 sites. These are our 7 sites, and we'll be serving meals, breakfast and lunch from 9 to 11. This is the time that I reached out to the Pasadena Education Foundation and asked for help. I started working, and I still am, with a really great gal, Nancy Carroll from PEF, who handles all the volunteers. She puts up a great website. She has the schools out there and the times that we need volunteers. And they started working for us in March, and they're still currently working for us now. And it's just been a great program for us. The city of Pasadena also reached out to us and right away and asked us if we could provide meals for their city employees' first responder children. And so they started picking up meals. They would send a staff person over to Muir High School in the morning and pick up meals for those kids and then take them back to the child care site. The city also asked what else that they could do, and I recommended if they could help us with weekend meals, because here in Pasadena it was a huge need for more meals being served to our families. And so the city employees within a week were serving lunches on Saturdays and Sundays, and they were using the Tournament of Roses parade, the vendors that we're not using for the parade anymore. They provided the meals for those weekends. So that was wonderful. One thing I kept hearing from families when we were starting this out in March and April was many families couldn't make it to the 7 sites, whether they didn't have a car, they couldn't drive, they had special needs children at home, or they weren't really close to one of the schools. So I reached out to PEF again and worked with many local churches here in the area, and we were able to get about 45 drivers, and they would meet at Muir High School first thing in the morning, and we were able to take out 450 to 500 meals a day to families of ours in the 3 communities, whether they were in a shelter, whether they're in a hotel, whether they were in an apartment, in a car. We were able to get the meals out to them, and so they didn't miss out on that. At the beginning of the school year, we really wanted to know what our families thought about our meals that we offered, and if they had any suggestions or thoughts of improvement. So we worked with our IT department and developed an online survey. And I have to tell you, I didn't do anything with this survey because I am not a computer smart person. So it was my whole entire staff, not me. But it was wonderful. and it was up on our website for a couple of weeks. And we just wanted to know if they like the serving times, if they like the meals, what could we do to make their life easier for them? And we received about 52 pages of suggestions. And after I read all 52 pages, one item I noticed was that throughout was the kindness the families felt for the staff at the sites. They expressed how they were all so friendly and really appreciated all of our hard work getting meals out to those kids. Most of my staff know the names of the regular customers that have been coming in since March, and they really make them feel appreciated, and that makes me feel good. So that was a good thing. But one of the other suggestions was to change the times. We did 9 to 11 up until the school started, and then we switched to 9 to 12. And so they really wanted additional hours before and after our time period. So this past week, we opened up 3 sites earlier in the morning. So we are offering meals now 7 a.m. to noon, and one site is in the afternoon, and that is in the center of it. So for all 3 communities, it's a center school, and it is right on a main, very busy street. And so we offer meals at that site from 9 to 3. And our numbers have really, participation has really gone up for those sites. Besides being the food service director, I also run the warehouse for the district. And so I have worked really closely with the staff and discovered that we have pallets of books that we can donate to our students. So back in March, when we started the curbside meals, I started handing out books, and we've handed out 25,000 books since March to our students. And we have filled all 41 little libraries here in our 3 communities twice this past summer. So that was exciting. Some of the other folks that we've partnered with here in Pasadena to offer some fun things for our kids along with the meals is RIF. They have gotten a grant, and they wanted to use the grant for our books for our kids. So they got brand new school books, new little reading books and things that we passed out. We worked closely with LA 84 Olympics, and they supplied tons of sporting equipment for us. So we were able to pass out jump ropes and Nerf basketball hoops and baseballs. And oh my gosh, the kids just loved that. And so they got to pick whatever it is they want along with their meal. We work really good. We have a good partnership with Huntington Library and the Gardens here in Pasadena. I think many of you might have come just to visit here. It's a beautiful area. We put together over 350 soil and grow kits, along with a beautiful book that was donated that talks about all the pretty flowers and plants and things in this area. And so that they could go home and they could grow their own from seed to plant. And we worked with our master gardener here in our district. And I guess some of the plants are actually growing, so that's a good sign. We also gave out about 7,500 art kits to all of our kids in the elementary age levels. And again, we had PDF volunteers coming in to help put those together, and my food service staff. And last week was Fire Prevention Week. And I don't know if you remember, but the Bobcat fire started over here in Sierra Madre area. And so we had the fire marshal reach out from the city of Pasadena, and we went out to 3 sites, and we passed out bags of stickers and coloring books and things like that for the kids. And they brought the fire engines out, and I don't know who was more excited, the kids or the staff at the site with the fire trucks. And of course, you know, all the firemen were always very handsome anyway, but these men were really handsome. So if you don't know how to ask, what you just do is you go out onto your school district website or your city website, and you just reach out and ask. If you need help from the city partners, that's exactly what we've done here in Pasadena. We could not have done what we've done over the past few months without our city partners and without PEF. And so, you know, don't be afraid. Just go on out and ask. And who knows, they might even say yes. Thank you.
Liz, thank you so much. The city of Pasadena has so much rich history and culture here in Southern California. It's really nice to see what's happening from your seat in the partnerships and everything else. You know, over here in Redlands, my city, they had to pick a bunch of oranges during the height of the pandemic, and they didn't have any place to put the oranges, so they called me. and I got truckloads of oranges from the city, and it's always fun to see what, you know, our biggest partner, which is normally the city, can do for us. So I loved hearing your stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And without further ado, we have a little Q&A, and then I have a little prize to give away. I'll let Miss Robin Ronkus do that after Miss Andrea. And then we have the sprinkles on our cake, which is Matt Upton after all of this. So without further ado, Andrea, are you ready for the Q&A, girl?
Yes, I am.
Thank
All right. We had lots of great networking today. I'm so excited. A lot of your questions were related to sharing documents amongst each other. So as the participants shared some ideas about surveys or questionnaires or calculation charts, they were asking if those were available to be shared. So presenters will be asking you if you are able to, maybe we can include them on the website with a slide deck for follow-up. Likewise, our first question we had was asking about bulk meals and if anyone has tried cooking bulk meals to give to families. And if so, how did that go? And what did you include with it?
For us over here in Redlands, we do bulk meals, but we do not cook them. And I'm not seeing any directors shaking their head that they're doing hot bulk meals.
No, no way.
All right, and for those of you who are doing frozen or meals that need to be prepared, are you providing instructions for those?
Oh my goodness, can I start with that? I know Tammy, I just try to keep up with her and be fancy like her. These are the, this is the flyer, the handout, and I'm happy to share this too, Andrea, so that they have this. We give this to them every single time, so they have this. And then I remember Jesse talking about PR. You know, I always say there's two sides of the paper. And so on the other side, we feature who our local community partners was. And Miss Tammy White knows firsthand that our community partner this week was Kuka's, who gave us a bunch of bean and cheese burritos.
Nice. Hey, we heard from Tammy that she mailed out some student ID cards or swipe cards for her meal service. Jesse, they were asking how you got your cards out to the family members.
So in my case for the meal ID cards, I had a chance to create them myself. I then contacted each school, each principal, made sure that each address that we had on file, it was the accurate one. When the kids came in and pick up their textbooks, they had an opportunity to pick up the meal ID cards there. If for whatever reason they did not get one, they were always informed to contact me and they can pick it up at a curbside pickup site.
Fantastic. All right, last question group. What support did you most need from the state?
Waivers.
Tammy White, what did we need? You're
waivers. Wait, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Waivers. That's what we need. Waivers. That makes so much. Yes.
Yeah, waivers. I think Josh said it best. You know, USDA finally came to bat for us and gave us exactly what we needed. We just needed, you know, everybody to put all the barriers down and just let us do our job. We were doing, you know, it's a lot of fun to be of service. I always tell my team, you know, what a privilege it is to be of service. We are the only ones that get to see the eyeballs of our parents. And every now and again, they bring kiddos and we just get so excited to see everybody's eyeballs. I don't know, Liz, do you have anything to add over in Pasadena? You have a pretty long window on that.
No, I don't really have anything else to add. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I also noticed, Andrea, Jen McNeil put a really nice link up there for the bulk meal service. Thank you for all of that. And why don't we do this? Is Robin Ronkus around?
Yes, I'm right here, Betty.
Ronkus, you got anything good going on in your corner?
Oh, yes, and I love giving away free things. Tommy, if you could go to the next slide. We have the winners of the Child Nutrition Director Survey. Everybody was entered into a drawing, and the winners are Janet Barth from Morongo Unified School District, representing San Bernardino County. Orlando Griego from Anaheim Union High School District. He was one of our speakers last time. So congratulations. Lucy Albera from Paramount Unified School District from LA County, and Elizabeth Hernandez from Moreno Valley Unified School District. And so No Kid Hungry donated those prizes, and they will be getting in touch with you so that they can get those prizes to you. Yay.
Well,
Congratulations.
thank you, Robin. We just love you taking such good care of us. And without further ado, we are going to close out our time this afternoon with Matt Upton, who I understand is going to be at the California School Nutrition Association conference. Mr. Upton, are you in the house? And District Coach, speaking of success?
And yes, I am. And I'm so happy to be here. What an amazing group of panelists, you know that, and everything that you presented. And since the last 210 days of this COVID-19 and traveling to near 70 districts at 78 or 79 different sites, 700,000 meals I've helped give away to students and their families. The most common thing that I've heard about is exhaustion. Everybody is so just exhausted. And so in thinking about that, what I would like us to talk about is how do you locate the energy to fill this need? How do you keep going during all this? And I think there's 4 things that we've got to do on a regular basis. The first one is we've got to figure out how to recreate ourselves, how to find some recreation. And if you take that word recreation and split it up, it's recreate. And there's 3 ways to do that. First of all, we've got to take some time away. We've got to figure out how to leave the work at the work and be at home when we're home. And when we're playing with our kiddos or we're walking the dog, be with the dog. We've got to figure out a way to disengage from the work and just have some time away. We've got to have some time to just vegetate a bit, just relax and just take your shoes off, whatever you got to do, just do that. And then make sure that on a regular basis, within the 1,440 minutes every single day that you get, sleep. Take some time to sleep. You've got to sleep. Number 2, we've got to find some elevation. All of us have got to find some elevation. If we're going to locate the energy to fill this need, not only must we recreate and find that recreation, we've got to find some elevation. And there's, again, 3 levels of elevation. There's the elevation that we give to ourselves, which means that we've got to speak well of ourselves. It's okay to pause and just speak well of yourself to yourself. So many of us beat ourselves up because we're not doing everything, and just simply speak well of ourselves. And I liked what Jesus said when he said, and several panelists said this, you've got to speak well of your staff and speak well of your staff to your staff and in the earshot of your staff, and then speak well of those students. I was at a site not too long ago, and the director was standing out there in the middle of the line and just squealing every time students were in the car. And that is so huge because there's something in there that gives us energy. And then number 3, we've got to find some satisfaction in all these pivots, all these shifts, everything that's going on. In the very beginning, you recall, on an hourly basis, things were changing on an hourly basis. And then towards this period that we're in now, it took a little bit of time to get some of these waivers. It took a little bit of effort, and we've got to find some satisfaction in everything that we do. And I think that's found in really locating our own DNA and serving through our own DNA. And what I mean by our DNA, how we're designed naturally to accomplish certain things. It doesn't matter if I'm in New York, if I'm in Mississippi, if I'm in Illinois, or I'm in Georgia, or I'm somewhere in California. All of us have a unique DNA. We're all designed naturally to accomplish or achieve certain things. And when we serve in that vein, when we serve through that period of time, it's recreative for us. And we find elevation in that because we're satisfied that we're bringing our best to the program and to everything else. And then last, number 4, to really locate the energy, not only must we find recreation, elevation, and satisfaction, we've got to do some transactions. And this is what I mean by some transactions. We've got to do some transactions of peace, because this is what I've heard in all the districts that I've been at. So many people are worried that they're not doing enough. Are they going to get an audit and they're going to be in trouble? I believe that what we've got to do is transact the worrisome things that we're worrying about to the shoulders of people that can solve it, and just stay within the vein of the things that you can control, and all those other things that you can't control, you just got to let it go. And if you took notes, you'll find that means rest. See, rest is not always taking a nap or sleeping. Sometimes rest is finding recreation, elevation, satisfaction, and doing the proper transactions. Thanks for letting me be here again today. I'm so honored, and I applaud every one of your creativity, your sustainability, and your commitment to integrity. I appreciate that. I'd like to invite you to connect with me on my Facebook page, where every single morning for the last 210 days, tomorrow will be number 211 at 7:07 a.m., where we spend 10 minutes together doing our best to give lift to LGs, the lunch girls and lunch guys who are serving our students. And you can reach me at 916-708-8103. Thanks again for letting me be here.
Hey, Matt, thanks a lot for sharing your day with us, and always for your professional coaching and inspiration. One of my favorite things about your 7:07 a.m. on the Facebook Live is on Tuesday on our serve. Our serve window is 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Sometimes it's even a little earlier than 6 a.m. because we're ready at 4 a.m. But I'm running around to my teams of 6 different service sites, just listening to those words of inspiration, being good to yourself. There's a lot to be said for that. And I think Tammy connected well with that, is that, just leaning into each other and saying, hey, I need help here, or this is what's going good here. And just this sheer collaborative spirit that we've been able to produce in this region has just been a lot of fun to be us and participate. And Matt, we appreciate you being our professional coach in the Quad County.
Thank you. Thank you.
You betcha. You betcha. So that's it, folks. We ran just a little bit over. Again, thank you so much. I think the biggest number I saw today was over 200 participants. We're going to get this out to everybody. We'll get all the questions answered. We'll provide all of the assets that everybody was asking for. We'll get the surveys that were provided. We'll get all the PR material. We are, as an individual, we're just a drop in the bucket, but together we're an ocean of awesomeness. So y'all go out there and have a great day, great evening, and no kid hungry. We could not do this without you. Tommy, thank you so much for pushing all those buttons. Thank you to the CNAP. Thank you to all of the directors. We had so much fun. So enjoy. Take care.